Well, the tri-state area is not known for its diverse population. However, there are many signs that the makeup of the region is changing. Today, we'll learn more about some of the growing multicultural communities in the area. That's coming up next on WNIN Newsmakers. Welcome to WNIN Newsmakers. I'm Jessica Costello, evening news anchor at Eyewitness News. Well, people move to the tri-state area for many reasons. One group that works to help people in need from a variety of backgrounds is the God is Good Foundation. And Miss Barbara Bias, their director, joins us now to talk about the growing multiculturalism in the tri-state. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Absolutely.
Well, first of all, for people that might not know, I want to talk about the foundation and what it's all about and what you would want people to know if they don't know about it.
Sure. So first of all, we are a Christian ministry, but we are also a State Department approved refugee resettlement agency. So we resettle federally placed refugees from all across the globe right here to our region in Evansville.
What would you say, I mean, you just said a big part of what you guys do, but what would you say is one of the most important parts of the foundation? Especially in your position, you get to probably work with so many different people and hear so many different stories. What are maybe some success stories or something that you've heard that you just know that this is why the foundation is here and, you know, this is why they exist?
Sure. So within what we do, we have individuals who have been tortured in other countries and they're looking for a safe environment. They come to Evansville, they see the friendliness of what our region has to offer. They integrate, they get in touch with our schools, they learn language, they get employed. So seeing them move from very timid, unsure of what this new country and environment will hold for them, to successful individuals who have purchased a home and a car and are living a new version of the American dream, I think is absolutely the best part of what we do.
And to be able to really see them call this place home.
Absolutely.
It's so special.
Yes.
But when we think about some of these people that are coming over and moving to our region, do you have maybe data that shows what countries they're coming from? Can you talk about that specifically?
Sure. So Evansville has received individuals from Afghanistan, Lebanon and Syria, Japan, Venezuela, Honduras, Guatemala, Haiti, areas like that, including Tanzania and Africa.
Well, when you talk about these places, it makes me think in my mind, how do all these people get drawn to the Evansville region? What is it about Evansville or even just the region in general that you think that they're drawn to?
For federally placed refugees, they actually don't get a chance to choose what town they're coming to unless they've got a family member here, and there are a large part of them who do. Evansville is a very multicultural, diverse community. So if they have a family member or a close friend, they can resettle here. Otherwise, the national agencies and federal government reaches out to us and says, hey, Evansville, do you have the capacity to serve this individual? In most cases, that answer is obviously yes. And we work to go ahead and get them their apartment and all the things necessary for their new life here.
So once that happens and the foundation is involved and then you hear, if it is a refugee and their family, they are settled in, do you all get involved in the feedback? Do you ever hear feedback about our region if they do truly feel like this is a place they can permanently call home? What is that feedback like?
Yes, so we actually have to track our refugees for up to 5 years after arrival. So although they are self-sufficient and they're living their life here, we're checking in on them to make sure that things are going well for them. A lot of them love Evansville. They're very happy to be here. And in fact, they look for ways to give back to this community for the generosity and the openness with which they were welcomed.
And it's so good to hear about the positives anywhere that you go, especially, in the place that you and I call home. But I think, we would be ignoring a big fact if we didn't talk about some of the challenges that maybe some refugees find when they do move here or just move to a new place in general. What are some of those challenges that you hear from, some of the people within the foundation?
One of the things that the majority of them face is a little bit of a language barrier. So they receive 15 cultural orientation classes, English language instruction, and employment assistance. One of the other barriers they have a little bit of trouble overcoming is that it takes several weeks for their employment authorization card to come.
Okay.
So briefing our employers that at least for federal refugees, they can work from day one of arrival with their transportation document from the Department of Homeland Security. Those are the two biggest challenges that they have, but usually once we're in the picture and working with them, they're easy to overcome hurdles for them.
Well, if people are watching this and they maybe want to be a little bit more involved, what are some connection opportunities for our local people and our communities already to get involved and maybe be a little more inviting if they can?
Absolutely. So we do classes Tuesday through Friday from 9 to noon. So if they would like to help learn some or teach some English and help individuals have a little bit more understanding and build relationship, they're welcome to come and apply for that. Obviously, federal refugees, we require a background check with that. We also have events that we do periodically. We're putting together an event in June called the World Refugee Day. It will be around June the 20th. Not fully settled as of yet. This is a first-year event for our community and looking forward to build that.
Perfect. Well, how can people, when that is set in stone, how can they find that information and get involved, whether that's just going or maybe volunteer opportunities or anything like that? How can they find it?
Absolutely. The information should be available on our website. We also have a Facebook page, and they certainly call the agency.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, now we are joined by Jelena Mascow of the Haitian Center of Evansville to talk about the Haitian community. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, we're happy to have you. So first, I want to talk about the Haitian Center. Tell us what it's all about and what the goal is.
The Haitian Center of Evansville, actually, we're only a year old. We started in April last year because we noticed there was a lot of Haitians coming to Evansville. I've always do interpreting for different organizations around the area. So when I feel like I was being pulled in so many different directions, I talked to one of my friends, and they said, okay, well, maybe we should create a center. And we met with the Women's Hospital, and they had a lot of women giving birth, and they didn't have anything that were Haitians, and they didn't speak their language. So I had a meeting with them, and we talked about Haitian culture, why some of the women were not responding the way they expected. And then we were like, well, maybe if the Haitian people have a starting point so they can go to the Haitian Center, they see someone who speaks the language, and we can help direct them throughout the community. Mm-hmm. That's how this Haitian Center started, but now it's doing way more than what
I'm sure. Yeah. After a year or two, I want to talk to you about that growth. So you've been obviously from the beginning.
Yes.
You kind of started this whole thing. So from the beginning and up until now, only a year later, what has that growth been like?
Since the center's been open, we counted a couple of weeks ago. We're like, well, how many people have we been servicing and how many people we've been helping? We noticed that we have helped 1,200 people.
Wow.
And it's only been a year.
Right.
So, but I was kind of shocked when we first opened the center. Everyone was telling us that there's over 6,000 Haitians in this area. But now with us servicing 1,200, we know there's like way more Haitians here than we can expect.
Yeah, what kind of leads me to my next question here. We're talking about growth so much during these segments, and I want to ask, in the community, if we're talking about in the Evansville region or if we're just talking about in the tri-state, how has the growth been like within the Haitian community? Is that population growing? It sounds like it might when we're talking about the center, but in terms of people just coming here, living here, what does that look like?
The population is growing everywhere. Washington, Indiana always have a large Haitian population. But now with Owensboro, Jasper, I mean, the center, because we're the only center centrally located here.
Okay.
So we get in calls from all over the place, all over the tri-state, people asking for services, language services, how they can help the Haitian community. So yeah, we have a lot of Haitian families here who settled in this area.
I think that's obviously good news when we talk about wanting to be a little bit more diverse, especially when we're talking about the tri-state, when you're in Indiana, Illinois, and Kentucky and whatnot. But why would you say that this might be an attractive community or a region that the Haitian community wants to move to and start a family even?
Well, immigrants, especially if there's jobs somewhere, they're going to go and find it. And Haitian people are just like any other immigrants. They want to work. They're not only supporting their families here, they're supporting families back at home. So if they can find jobs where they can work so many overtime, then they're going to go and find it. We have so many manufacturers around the area. We have, TJ Maxx, Toyota, and AmeriQual, all these different places, so many. So, and I always tell people it would be weird if we didn't have, people migrating here because we have so many different jobs, opportunity for people.
We obviously love to talk about the positives. When anyone moves to our area, we love to talk about how they love our community, but, sometimes there are challenges. Mm-hmm. So are there unique challenges to the Haitian community when they do arrive here? And even when they live here, are there challenges that, they still face even years down the line?
Yeah, I mean, there's several challenges because Haitians are triple minorities. So basically, they don't speak the language. And when people see us, they said, well, you're African Americans. And then also you're in a country where it's not your own. So that makes you triple minorities. So that's one of the, things that we face. Other than that, there's language. Because you don't speak the language, of course, you're not going to be able to go into a place and look for a job or just walk in somewhere just looking for housing. And also we have so many different immigration status. So there's status that people have to wait 6 months before they can start working. So there's so many challenges and there's not a lot of immigration asylum attorneys here. So, and the next one is in Chicago. The next court is in Chicago. So we have to actually bring immigration attorneys here to help them when they go to Chicago so they can have immigration access.
Well, when you bring up some of these challenges, is that where the Haitian Center can kind of step in and guide or help? Maybe not provide all of the help, but at least guide in the right direction?
Yeah, that's what we do. So we noticed that there is a lot of Haitians traveling to Chicago or paying a lot of money to go to Chicago so they can get their passport. So I got in touch with the Haitian consulate in Chicago and said, hey, we have people here that need passports.
Right.
So he came down here. We did a passport drive.
Oh, great.
So we had over 200 people show up just to get passports. And we noticed there's no immigration attorney here that do asylum. So I reached out to an immigration attorney who's Haitian in Atlanta and bring her here to help the Haitian people. And they came in and and they do free consultation. So we try to bring them services that we know that doesn't exist here. We had people from Washington, Kentucky, and Indianapolis. They come down just for the passport drive.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about events. Are maybe not even, like festival-wise events, but are there other things that that are coming up in the future that you want to talk about right now to maybe let anybody in the community know if they want to interact with your organization?
So May 18th is Haitian Flag Day. It's such a big event for our Haitian community. It's basically celebrating our flag because of our history. In 1803, Jean-Jacques Dessalines decided that he wanted to make our flag blue and red because we were under the French for so long, and our flag was the French flag. So he removed the white part and make it blue and red. That's what I'm wearing today.
Yep.
So May 18th is Haitian Flag Day, and it's been celebrated for years around all of the countries where they have large Haitian population. We had one last year. It was kind of small at Young Established, thanks to Courtney. Mm-hmm. But this year we're having one like a picnic style event. It's going to be outside at the I Camp. And it's basically sharing our Haitian culture, food, music, and we have our high school students. They're going to do some kind of like culture dance for us. So it's just a fun event so the community can experience our culture and we're showcasing our pride and Haitian.
Is there a Facebook page or a website or something people can go to check that out, the details and all that?
Yeah, our website is Haitian Center EVV People can go and check that out. And then we have our Haitian Center of Evansville website. And then we have Haitian of Evansville Facebook group that all the Haitians around the country is part of. So, yeah, so people can go and check that out.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Here to talk more about the Indian community in the Evansville area is Bhavana Shah, president of the Cultural Society of India. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're happy to have you. Well, first I want to talk about the Cultural Society of India and what it is and what the mission is.
So Cultural Society of India, our mission or our aim is to promote and preserve the rich culture and heritage of India. We do that by organizing various sports, educational and cultural events. We have been around since 1984 and this is our 40th year of operation. So it's a big year for us and we want to celebrate in a big way. Just to spread the awareness about our culture amongst our own children who were born and grew up here, and also for the larger community so that we can integrate well into the community and just spread the love.
Absolutely. How many members would you say that are part of the Cultural Society of India?
So last year we organized a number of events for our Kite Festival. We had more than 500 people attend the event. For our cricket tournament and the India Fest that we organized last year, we had around 600 to 800 people pass through the entire day. So, but the crowd is much bigger,
Absolutely.
but typically that's what our event usually has, that kind of attendance.
Well, I do want to touch on events, but there are some questions I want to get to first. So first I want to talk about growth. How is our area, the Evansville region, or just Evansville in general, whatever you want to kind of touch on here, how has this area experienced growth within the Indian community?
So the Indian community has grown over the years with only a handful of families in town when they actually started this organization to now more than 1,000 families in the tri-state area, not just the Evansville. It would be the tri-state area, the region. So we have great employers here like the Deaconess, Ascension, and then we have One Main Financial that most of the Indian community is employed with. We have entrepreneurs and other professionals in the city. So yes, over the years it has grown exponentially and more people are moving in than moving out because we have a very good school system and the Indian community is very, very integrated. It's like an extended family.
So, you touched on some of the things that make the Evansville area or even the region attractive to move to. Are there any unique challenges that you feel that the Indian community faces on a daily basis or throughout their lives here?
Yes, most of the Indian families that have moved to U.S. Usually come on temporary work visas or they have come as international students. One of the biggest challenge, and I would not say it is region specific, but in US is getting a permanent visa like a green card or citizenship, which always acts as a threat or adds to the stress, and they cannot perform optimally as an individual or as a family. The other is the discrimination and xenophobia that we face, basically. And discrimination is sometimes very vocal, sometimes even violent, but sometimes it's very subtle. And you don't get the promotion that you have been waiting for, or you get overlooked or passed on for the promotion. You do not get enough opportunities. Sometimes you're just not included in office talks. They willfully neglect your presence or behave as if you're invisible. So those kind of discrimination is harder to fight than the more visible or the more overtly violent discrimination. So yes, due to our skin color, we constantly feel that we have been, been invisible or neglected.
And you talk about these challenges that I think all of us hate to hear, that anybody in a community that maybe doesn't look like you or me goes through. But how does the Cultural Society of India step in there and provide a sense of community for the Indian community when things like that happen? Are there ways that your organization helps them get through those things?
So one way my organization has tried to fight that is, and there's not a single solution to that problem. It is a multifaceted solution, but we have tried to be inclusive of the community at large, invite them to our festivals so they can see, experience our culture, our food, our people, and trying to break the barrier. The invisible barrier in that way. So that has helped spread the name about the community. We try to give back to the community. Last year we ran our courts and check its donation drive during winter. So the community knows that we are contributing towards the community and trying to help and uplift others as we grow.
Lots of exciting things, it sounds like.
Yeah, so we're trying to do our best and change the face, and yes, talking to political leaders and see, if they could give us the boost in creating the awareness, having cross-cultural events, that will help. I think sometimes people are discriminatory just because of the unknown or because they think they just are ignorant about it. So creating that awareness is very important in my opinion.
Absolutely. Well, for anybody watching right now, if they want to get involved, is there a website that they should be aware about?
Yes, our website is called tristatecsi.org. You can go on to the website. You will find all the resources there. We also have a Facebook page. So reach out to us, and we connect you and help you make those connections.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, now we are joined by Victoria Mayatsky of the Grace of Christ Mission in Ukraine to talk about the local Ukrainian community. And thank you so much for joining us today. You're welcome. Well, lots to talk about here, but first I want to talk about growth in the Ukrainian community within Evansville or even just our region. How would you say your community has grown here? Is it growing, or are there less people? Are they moving elsewhere? What do you see?
Well, are you talking about recently or overall?
Let's talk about both. I think both are important.
Okay, well, when you're talking about us, they're Ukrainians specifically or Slavics. We're pretty much part of Slavics, and Slavics can include Russian, Belarusians, Moldovans, and every other country that speaks Russian. So Slavic community is very present in Evansville. We have a Slavic Baptist church here in Evansville, and it has 150 adult members and a bunch of kids. So it's pretty large community, I would say. But also there's a lot of people who don't go to our church, but they're still from our culture and are speaking Russian. Ukrainians, I'd say it's about 50-50 in our church, 50 to almost 50 of every other country from former USSR. But Ukrainians have grown recently because of the war. Unfortunately, we had to ask our relatives, friends, whoever we could, to move out of the cities who are under greatest danger. And I'm unfortunately from the city that was hit the most, or one of the cities that was hit the most. I'm from eastern Ukraine, cities Kharkiv, and unfortunately it's been on the news a little too often last 2 years. And my family and friends, a lot of people are moving to Europe, some to America, those who had friends or relatives here. So this is how community is growing in the last 2 years.
Absolutely. And I think it's something that none of us want to be seeing on the news. And I can only imagine how difficult that is for you, especially if you have friends and family back home in a place where you feel a little helpless when you're watching it on TV. Your shirt today, I wanted to address that because you said that shirt that you're wearing has seen a lot of sun, but that's because that you guys are outside spreading a message. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, when the war started, first it was like panic and crying and shaking and stuff. But then after we came to our senses, we were like, well, what can we do? We're so far away. Well, we have to do something. We can't just, passively stand by, even though we're across the whole ocean, but we need to do something. So we came up with an idea to organize some kind of mission to direct funds to people that we know there in Ukraine, back there in Ukraine, because a lot of us grew up there and left as adults. So I've been a member of a church there, so I still know my pastor. Right. So I know people who are volunteering personally, and a lot of us in our Ukrainian, in our Slavic church do. So we came up with the idea to organize a mission to somehow raise funds and then send to those people that we know and trust, so they can volunteer. They can evacuate people. They can provide them with food, water, whatever the needs are to stay warm in the winter. So this is how we were born. So this is how Grace of Christ mission in Ukraine was born in the first very days of the war starting. And now we have been through, I can't really count how many fundraisers under the sun. Thankfully, God had blessed us with a son every single time. We've been through Fall Festival. We try to introduce people to our food. We sell our food. We have cooks right there on the spot so people can watch how we cook our food. And I think it's pleasing American taste buds.
Probably, I'm sure.
Yes, because there's some foods that became local favorites. People coming back, like, that food I liked, and I tried last time, or Fall Festival, I want it again. So there are some foods that became local favorites, so I know people like them. And this is how we raise money, and everything, we don't take any pay. Everything is volunteer-based. We send to Ukraine, to the cities we're from, that we know people from, or other organizations that we trust.
Let's start and try to garner attention again here in the tri-state. You have events coming up that maybe not directly with your organization, but somewhere that you'll be at. How can people get involved and support your mission?
Yes, so for now, current events that are going to happen, the closest one is May 2 to 4. Catalyst Church is organizing this food truck taste of the fest, they call it. We just had our own fundraiser, and we probably will have one in the fall. It's like a tradition now to have one to raise money, because we have, I think it's 10 for now, 10 spots that 10 cities, 10 different organizations that we're financing there on a regular basis, and they have needs on gas, on food and stuff, so we just can't stop.
How can people stay up to date on your future events? Is there a website or a Facebook page? What is that?
There is a Facebook page, yes. It's called Grace of Christ Mission in Ukraine. And I put a lot of information there about where the money goes. So like volunteers say that they've been to this little village in the Kharkiv region, and they sent a picture to us, and I put it in a post. So people see that actual people are buying food, are driving to places to give out food and whatever the needs are. And also about the events, I always post there about the events. So like when event is coming up, I will be posting on and on about the food that you're going to expect. Just come and support and donate. I know our food is good and it's worth a lot.
Take your word for it. I'm sure it is.
But obviously donations, because our volunteers are relying on the financial help, because it's kind of untying their hands, because they are there, they can help, but without the funds, they really can't do anything.
Absolutely. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about all this. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks to all of our guests for joining us to talk about the growing multiculturalism in the tri-state. Next week, we'll be discussing housing issues in our area. Thanks for watching WNIN Newsmakers.